Okay, here's a look at the eminiday S&P for Thursday, February the 24th, 2011. Going into today, I'd mentioned yesterday that still the 1308 was a pretty important area, and you can see that overnight it did get a little bit above it, did get a little bit above it during the day today. By the way, this is if you haven't seen these kind of charts before, this is today's market profile. This is yesterday's market profile. The one in the middle is what occurred overnight. So you can see we just had that little bit of movement higher above the area that we thought could act as resistance. The next area of resistance we had, I think I'd mentioned about 14 or so. So it didn't get up there. And then, of course, yesterday's low. And then going into today, we had the overnight low. So the market is trying to find a low, it appears. I don't know if it's found it yet. I don't think so. And so I think we're still more or less contained here from, roughly up to this line up here down to, let's say, around 13. I would say that this is more or less at least temporary support, 1300 even. And then down to 97 as support and resistance up there around 1309. But we're still really more bearish than bullish for now on an intraday or day-to-day swing basis. And so that's really the preference that we have in making our trades right now. Here are the market profiles of the last week or so, maybe 3 weeks. And as you can see, this is what we've done this week is fallen off pretty substantially. Here's our chart today showing our software, and every time you see a red down arrow, that's an indication of a short trade. And every time there is, and these are shown, of course, in real time as a 1-minute bar chart, so they're shown at the end of the 1 minute. And you can see here that there are some up arrows in here, and of course with our charts as well, we have this what we call a filter, and that's down at the bottom here. So when the filter is red, as it was mostly through here, our preference or the market is structurally informing us that the sellers are in control on an intraday or within the current day's time frame. And if it's green, like it was a little bit here and most of the end of the day, then it's indicating that on the daytime frame that the buyers are more in control than the sellers. And so we try and match that up with our intraday analysis. So going into the day, we have a preference, as I was just stating. It was down going into today, and it's still really down. You can see that 1308 area here. Here is 1308. So just touched it there late in the day and then early in the day. So the market, I think it's got to hold above that before we can have any kind of sustained move higher. So at any rate, as far as our trades were concerned, our first trade was a short here. It did hit our first objective, but then rallied up. So we ended up by having a break even on that. These two trades, these long trades, were not taken because we're in the intraday down auction and we were just in the neutral filter. This was a nice short trade, get short right in here. So that was trade number 2 today. It came down nicely. Trade number 3 in here also entered right here, popped up a bit and then came down. This long trade was not taken. We had some short trades here. One of them was entered here. Trade number 4. Number 5 was not taken because our filter by that time had turned, I think it was neutral at that time, and the market had come off the overnight low very strongly at 93.50 actually was the overnight low here. So you can see it really came off strongly, just that little dip below and then turned around. We were able to take an additional trade up here, which was a nice short trade, even though we were in the green filter. And this is a good example of our 2 out of 3, because this was a known barrier at 8, and the intraday auction is down. So we're able to take that on our 2 out of 3 premise, even though the filter at that time was going against us. In other words, it was green. And of course this worked out to be a nice trade because getting in here it had a nice sell-off for the rest of the day. So these long trades here, the market did not pull back. This one here we did not take, even though it worked out nicely, um, just because we're intraday down, even though we had a green filter, we were not butted up against any kind of barrier. So the fourth trade here, it did come down, hit our first objective only, and then turn around. So trade number 4 was a break even, but then trade number 5 came in here and had a nice profit on it. So we ended up by taking 5 trades today for a nicely profitable day. But the market's very volatile right now, so you've really got to be careful. At least that would be my recommendation. Tomorrow we have consumer sentiment at 9:55 and GDP at 8:30. That's Eastern Time, New York time. So the market could become somewhat volatile at that time. And the way the market's trading right now, our ranges have really jumped up this week. We were averaging, less than a 10-point range, and this week I think our average has been more like, closer to 20. So, the volatility has really jumped up here. So you got to kind of be careful under this environment, somewhat nimble with your management. So we're still looking at 1308 as resistance, and the market could easily come down 1308, 1309 down to 1300 is really what we're expecting as sort of just kind of a containment area, if you will, for tomorrow. Gets above or below that, we could have a half decent move down to test, for example, today's low. That would be down another 8 points down towards the 92 area. Up above 9, we could see the market go up to test that area up in around 14. So that's really what we're looking at for tomorrow. So thanks for taking the time to view the video. Any questions or comments, just get a hold of us at info@eminidaytrader.com. Thanks for watching the video. See you tomorrow.